It's home. I grew up here. It's changed a lot, but in here, it's home.
Josephine Church speaks for many, many other people who claim their roots in Lyles Station, Indiana. Lyles Station is located in Gibson County, just north of the Ohio River and near the Wabash, Patoka, and White Rivers. Brothers Joshua and Sanford Lyles, who were freed slaves from Tennessee, established the settlement in the 1840s. Their descendants and those of others who later lived here, as well as hundreds of visitors, travel from all over the country for homecomings, the alumni reunion, and the New Beginning celebration. Often over 1,000 people show up. It's pretty amazing. And this is where they came. This was once a flourishing community, even though it may not look like much now. A flourishing community of people, attracted here by the land and by the fertility of this land.
So the early settlers that came here, they really were looking for prospering and expanding into a large scale in farming. They seen the rivers, they seen the large amount of forestry, and next thing you know, they could take that land and turn it into great farmland, very fertile soil, and they had money. They purchased large tracts of land. Oh, in the early years, according to my grandfather and others, it was just a glorious place because downtown, we call downtown Lyles Station, they had a general store and they had the sawmill and the blacksmith shop, and then top it off, if we wanted ice cream, we could go to the ice cream parlor, which was a / barber shop.
In fact, of the some 20 African-American settlements that once dotted Indiana over the past 175 years, Lyles Station is the only one remaining. Many of the early residents, as well as their more recent descendants, are buried in Sand Hill Cemetery. It's located on part of the original property purchased by Joshua and Sanford Lyles. One of the places that has given this community its continuity is Wayman Chapel African Methodist Episcopal Church, established in 1860 and still in use. The other one was the school. The first one built around 1864. Then in 1922, 3 local schools came together to form the Lyles Consolidated School. It's just up the hill here.
It was just a center. Next to church, it was the center of the community for everybody. The teachers would do a class and you didn't look up to see what was going on over there. You stayed with what you were doing. And with Mr. Lucas, you know you didn't get in the other class's business.
To me, it was very enjoyable. I mean, recess and everything, and of course, back then the boys were on one side and the girls on the other, but we had a lot of fun, and I don't think I ever had a spanking while I was down here. But probably wasn't because I didn't need it, but...
For recitation work, if you were called upon, if it was just a simple question, the answer, you stood up.
Oh, it was fantastic. I loved it. And I always tried to do my very best. It's just a great school, I thought. They took an interest in you and would help you anytime. You could come early or ask any questions or stay after school, and they were just dedicated to give their best.
It goes back to the basic institution in the world for the success of any child, and that's the family. Many of these parents made great sacrifices here in Gibson County.
Even though the school continued to produce good students, the community began to decline in the 1920s. Some young people didn't want to be farmers, and there were opportunities in places like Evansville, Terre Haute, and Indianapolis. And what was an important reason for the original location of Lyles Station, being near the rivers, became a serious problem over the years, beginning in 1913.
Most every spring, there was a flood. And I used to live right around the corner from the church. There's a picture of my dad in a rowboat in front of the house. It was a big thing.
They had to leave, a lot of them, in order to obtain work and this type of thing, because all this community back years ago was farmland, and you lose one crop right after another, and you can't raise a family on water.
The dwindling population and the end of school segregation caused the school to close in 1958.
This school was just here for 32 years with nothing going on in it, just sitting on the hill. And the kids played in the playground out in the front. So the community center was kind of like the front of the school, and the school was still a tie to the community here. And Norman Greer, one of the farmers in the area here, purchased the school, and he had ownership up until we purchased it in 1999.
My dad is a farmer. He comes from a family of farmers. He went to school here, and he didn't want to see the county get a hold of the school nor of land in Lyles Station. So he purchased the school. He said when he went to the auction, it was like he didn't matter. He told them, it does not matter how high the price goes, I'm buying it.
One day, somebody drove by and saw the northwest side of the building laying out into the grassy area. And everybody pushes the panic buttons. And they were thinking about all that history that we have lost if this building gets pushed down and just actually disappears.
It was falling apart, and we wanted to save it. And so I decided to call Historic Landmarks. They knew about it. They knew about it, and they were elated that someone cared enough to come to them, that, like I said, they guided us the whole way.
So, with critical help from Indiana Landmarks, 19 people came together as the Lyles Station Historic Preservation Corporation.
We spent 2.5 years designing what we were going to do with this building. So when it was all finalized, we would have all the detail on paper, step by step.
And then Stan and them told me what they were trying to do. And I said, lost cause.
But when that first backhoe rolled in and we started seeing some digging action take place, and then they came in with one of these great big hydro holes with a big finger on the bucket part, and Delbert Jones and his son had their own business. And the Jones Corporation worked on disassembling this building.
Well, all the foundation was left, and what we had to do is come in and take everything off the brick. I would just pick it out to where I could get a good hole, a good chunk, and lift that off. And then some of the rafters and stuff is filled down in the center.
So in the long process, it finally, step by step, came into the part where the construction started moving forward. The contract that was set up with Jeff Kester and the USDA was a 240-day time frame. We made it in 239. Final paint job, final doorknob, turn the key over, sign off.
I'm so impressed with this school. People must be proud of it.
Oh, they are. This community is really excited about this. I'm going to show you
I wanna
inside
see
this
it.
history.
Like the exterior, the interior looks much as it did when it was filled with students from the Lyles Station area. They don't have traditional classes in them now, but their purpose is still strictly educational. Several thousand students visit the school each year. They come from all around the area, often from 60 miles away or more. It's not just a field trip. It's a memorable, hands-on, personal experience, a walk away with knowledge adventure.
You see the different harness? You see the collars back here, but
The room that once contained grades 1, 2, and 3 is now used as an interpretive center about Lyles Station and the surrounding area, including the Underground Railroad and the farming heritage. In the old grade 4, 5, and 6 room, there are pictures, artifacts, and information about notable Lyles Station School alumni. And there have been many from this little school in business, finance, education, the arts, public service, and other professions.
Alonzo Fields was a chief butler of the White House.
This is Mrs. Jones. She used to go to school here.
My wife Mary has been a big inspiring part of our educational side of this, because Mary was the first one that told us, well, we've got to put a Heritage Classroom in. She says that Heritage Classroom will give our students an opportunity to experience what their great-grandparents went through. And we do that role play 100%.
On your slate boards, I want you to practice writing the first stanza of that poem. Now remember, if your pencil's squeaking, you're holding it too tight. We're going to learn a little bit about poetry. What do you think it's going to be about?
A dying soldier.
Please stand up, nice and loud and clear, please.
A dying soldier.
Dying soldiers. Now, Kimber, you need to talk nice and loud and read the first stanza only, please.
A waste of land, a sodden plain,
Outside the classroom, visiting students at the school get a taste of the chores and games that children of that era experienced.
I just feel like I have something to tell them, and it's from experience. I don't have to even think what I'm going to say next, because I lived through it. And that's what makes it so wonderful.
The school's lower level is an auditorium community room where groups and families gather for meetings and other events. Toyota and Duke Energy meet here for a diversity training and long-range studies. Area teachers get together for training sessions.
It was kind of an honor to me to be able to help restore this back to its original beauty.
What I love about the school is that it makes so many people happy, and it brings back so much to so many people, and it means so much to the future generations, not only the descendants, but the other kids, other people that come here and see it and know about it.
No one has invested more energy, passion, and hard work in the Lyles Consolidated School than Stan and Mary Madison. They both work full-time, Mary as a teacher, Stan as an engineer. And both farm. Why? What drives this amazing commitment?
Well, the key and what it means to me is my ancestors. I want to please my ancestors. Whatever it takes to keep this community alive and to see this site here to prosper and to move forward, it's all ties to being pleasing to my parents and grandparents. That's my whole goal. That's what it's all built about. That's what family ties is all about. That's why we do what we do here at Lyles Station, is to continue that dream that started way back in the 1840s, that we have freedom, we have prosperity, and we have that unity of closeness. So that's what it's all about.